Dan Leach back here in Chicago at the Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference, and I am joined by my man Lou Magazzu, the chair of the cannabis department for the Weiner Law Group. Great to see you.
Great to be here.
What a great event this is.
Spectacular.
And not only is the energy and the vibe fantastic, but I get to meet people like you.
And I get to meet people like you with all your background and your interesting life. So I've got to tell you, this is my fourth or fifth Benzinga, and it is the best by far. Both in terms of content, the energy, the vibe, I thought you were going to say because I was there.
Well,
that's
a small part.
That should have been the beginning. But I think the industry expanded, then contracted, and it's kind of right-sizing now. I think there's tremendous opportunities nationally, particularly in New Jersey, where my firm has, we have about 70 attorneys in 8 offices, 7 in New Jersey, 1 in New York City. And we've done about 24 I've done about 24 cannabis projects. The firm's done about another 10. So, and we've got another 10 in the queue. So there's a lot of work. New Jersey is particularly good for cultivation, manufacturing, retail, transportation. You've got over 8 million people, probably close to 10 million people in a 3.5 span from the north to the south. Lots of opportunity. I believe about 2,000 licenses have been approved. About 220 or so businesses are up and running, and tremendous growth potential for people who know the industry or want to invest in the industry.
Well, let's talk about it because it really is a fascinating time. And as you mentioned, there's been some pain, there's been some pressure points, there's been some obviously long faces, not as much obviously now as maybe a year or two ago. But when you look at it from your side, the legal side, and you see where this industry has been, but also where it could be possibly going, are you hopeful, or is there still some time that has to pass before you're really hopeful?
Both. Long term, this is a great long-term play, but there will continue to be growing pains. You know, the industry started 10 years ago on the West Coast, and it's kind of migrated to the East Coast. So we in New Jersey have tremendous cost or opportunity, rather, both for cultivators and retail sales. At some point, that cost factor is going to contract, the profitability will contract, but it still will be a tremendous long-term business. The other part of it is there will come a time when 280E will be resolved, which is the tax issue, where safer banking will get approved, and maybe even ultimately legalization. I think probably my sense is that the federal government will give every state their opportunity and will take away the penalty, but it's some like kind of a mix of you're allowed to do it nationally, but there's still some home rule. But in that meantime, there's going to be tremendous growth. New Jersey is known as the Garden State, and lots of fruits and vegetables, a lot of food processing, also a lot of pharmaceutical companies. So New Jersey is used to regulated industries, and I think that's why we're doing it so well. I did the first in 2018. I was local counsel for Columbia Care and did that, and then 19 represented someone else who came in but ultimately decided not to go in Jersey. We had the pandemic in 20, and then after 21, it's just been a steady continuance of work and opportunity. New Jersey, particularly South Jersey, has lots of land for cultivation, has relatively good energy costs, good labor costs, and the regulatory framework in New Jersey and the enforcement is really been such that it's been helpful to the industry. Unlike our neighbors in New York, where frankly they've had some challenges. New York has had some difficulties. Pennsylvania, New York had its litigation. Pennsylvania only has medical, and Delaware and Maryland are just catching up. So Connecticut is very good, Massachusetts is very good, but New Jersey, I think, is prime for continued expansion.
Well, you obviously have been fighting the good fight for a long time. What do you think is important for people out there, whether it's advocacy, whether it's trying to, we're seeing in Florida with Proposal 3, what's the key right now, these next couple of years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, for people to really focus on?
Well, I think the most important thing is to impress upon everybody that these are legitimate businesses. This is not, I'm 67, so I'm of a certain age that I remember head shops in college, and unlike Bill Clinton, I did inhale, okay? So to go to a really quality retail store, which frankly they all are because of regulation, it's going like into an AT&T store or a Comcast, an Xfinity store. It's really state-of-the-art. It's clean. It's impressive. There's kiosks. There's the ability to get in and out in about 10 minutes. And also very knowledgeable bud tenders. They typically get to know their consumers, and they treat their consumers well. So the point is, I think we need to send that message out that this is an industry, a business, just as good as any other business. And then the second thing I think we have to explain to everybody is there's more regulation on this industry, with the exception of maybe food and pharma. And as a consequence of that, this is going to be one of the safest industries to participate in, to invest in, and to be a consumer of.
Right.
Because there's so much regulation. Now, regulation is a double-edged sword. In some instances, there are challenges. But frankly, the businesses that comply with the regulation are going to be the ones that will not only survive, but thrive.
Well, listen, I met a lot of people this week, and I got to tell you, you're easily one of my favorites.
You're the best.
Lou Magazzu, the chair of the cannabis department at the Weiner Law Group. Great to see you. Look forward to do this again soon.
I'd like to do it. Thank you.